There we go. All right. We are going to get started here real quick. Welcome, everyone. Hello, hello. It is the year in review. This is the biggest stream of the year. Before we get started here, I just want to say thank you, Exotic, for the 5 gift subs, and I guess Valorant, like the game, for the additional gift sub. I hope all of you who received subs are happy with that. Congratulations. Congratulations on being lucky. Hello, hello. Okay. All right. So, there we go. Yes, and thank you, Jelly, for the bits. I'm sorry, I got so many notifications that just jumped up when that happened. Thank you, Exotic, for the subs. Thank you, Jally, for the bits. Thank you guys for being here. Thank you, Embry, for the resub. Thank you all for being here. This is the biggest stream of the year. Welcome back to the year in review. For those of you joining us for the first time, this is a stream that I do every year where I reveal my top 10 games that I played this year. Now, there are no restrictions, which means that this list can cover anything between MS-DOS all the way up to Xbox Series X and beyond. Oh my goodness, Exotic, thank you for the gift subs again, and Kingdom for the bits. You guys are going absolutely crazy. Holy cow. This was a huge year. This was a huge year, not just for the channel, but for me as well, and for all the games that I played. This was a massive year. 600,000 gamer score earned, a massive competition in the month of May, and well over 500 games played. We have a very, very competitive field this year for the year in review. Now that that's out of the way, we are going to have a little bit of an additional thing on the end of this in reference to next year's competition, but we'll get to that right after the list. I apologize if I don't immediately respond to your messages in the chat. I will, I promise. I will do my best to get to them after we go through the top 10 here. I worked really hard on this script, and once I start going, I'm not going to be able to stop. So, sit tight, everyone, and here we go. Number 10 for the game is Rogue Warrior. Now, those of you who are regular viewers on this channel may remember that this originally started as a joke game suggestion, and then got taken very seriously as it basically breaks down a lot of barriers this year. This is, I think, the first best-worst game, and I'll explain that. So, Rogue Warrior has you playing as the real, factual, this actually happened Richard Marcinko as you go on a covert mission to bring North Korea and the Soviet Union to their knees. Now, that sounds very exciting, I'm sure, but let me just get you a little bit of backstory first. Richard Marcinko is, or rather was, a real Navy SEAL commando who passed away in 2021. But before, his military career saw him involved in the Vietnam War and with SEAL Team 6, before he was then dishonorably discharged for taking kickbacks. Marcinko, now out of the military, decided to start writing books akin to what you'd expect from Tom Clancy, except, and I'm putting this in the biggest quotation marks ever, everything written in his books was real and actually happened. Now, take that with a grain of salt if you will, but that is not what drew Kill the Choir and I to his game. No. In fact, if you check the Wikipedia list of worst games ever made, you'll find it on there. The game is genuinely terrible, from mostly a gameplay and mechanical standpoint, but the thing that makes it stand out, the thing that makes it an absolute blast to play, is not because it does anything groundbreaking or because it's, big and flashy. It's because it is a parody that takes itself way too seriously. In turn, that makes just about everything that happens in the game that much funnier. And one important side note is that one of the reasons it ended up on the worst games ever list is because of, and again, understand I am not over-exaggerating here, The absolutely comical level of foul language in the game. I'm not going to repeat any of it here, as we generally try to keep the stream PG, but Kill the Choir and I realized at one point in the game that we had just killed every enemy soldier in a Russian nuclear missile base, and Richard Marcinko, who is both the author of the books and the main character of the game, and presumably the books, was still actively swearing at literally no one as things exploded around us when we escaped. It's almost as if he was just genuinely enjoying hearing himself curse and swear over and over and over again. It's baffling. Anyway, I'm not going to recommend this game to anyone. This is not a mind-blowing experience, but it's more of a fever dream along the lines of how on earth did this ever get made? But hey, if you want to laugh or two, pick it up for the 360 or the PS3. It's about $10 at the time of writing, and, you know, it'll be a funny way to spend an afternoon. Moving on to arguably our biggest surprise appearance this year, Disney Speedstorm taking 9th place. Now, I started playing this game much earlier this year because it was a simple, free-to-play game with a somewhat easy achievement list. I wasn't expecting anything huge, you know, just your normal Disney game, but I was almost immediately proven wrong. I loaded into one of the new seasonal campaigns and was immediately welcomed by one of the most amazing remixes I've ever heard of Frozen's Let It Go. The cart handling was well done, there was no floatiness to it, the items were plentiful and made sense, the AI was challenging but not unfair, and not even that, but as I rotated into race after race, it's just banger after banger after banger of a soundtrack. I don't know how much they paid their sound team to make this thing, but they're not paying them enough. House and dance remixes of not just the new music, but also classics from The Little Mermaid and Hercules. I hardly believe just how solid this game is. In the span of my time playing it, they also not only rotated in a couple new seasons worth of content, but they also completely overhauled how the entire game works. These devs genuinely seem to care about what they're making here, and it's amazingly refreshing. As far as I know, the game is available on all platforms. Please install it and check it out. You will not be disappointed. All right. We are going to jump right into number 8 here with Alba, a wildlife adventure, which, as far as I'm aware, is about as close to our annual indie walking sim game that we're going to get. You know, the one that makes the list every year, because there's always at least one. Alba, a wildlife adventure, is set on a Mediterranean island as you're visiting your grandparents for the summer. The economy isn't doing so hot as island tourism is down and pollution is up, but rest assured, the mayor has a plan to fix everything. He's going to let a multinational resort corporation bulldoze a protected marsh in order to build a giant 20-story resort building. Since the island is home to numerous endangered species, the locals are not happy about that. The game involves exploring the island and taking all sorts of pictures of endangered animals as you document everything living on the island and in the waters around it. It's very cute, very relaxing, and has a really good overall positive message that everyone is sure to enjoy. Well done, Alba, a wildlife adventure. Number 7 this year is a sleeper hit that really surprised me. Marvel's Midnight Suns is what happens when you take the overwhelming popularity of Marvel's characters and put them into their own version of Dragon Age and XCOM. This game was probably the most hidden gem status of everything on the list this year, as I remember it being heavily advertised, and then as soon as it came out, it fell off the face of the earth. I ended up buying it on sale at GameStop, and it has exceeded every single expectation I had for it. This is probably one of the few games that I'd say is worth the initial full price. Marvel's Midnight Suns see you play as the player character, aka the Hunter, a monster hunter from ye old days of Knights and Dragons, brought back to life magically to help slay, wait for it, your own mother, Lilith, the mother of all demons. What follows is a huge adventure where you meet and team up with all of your favorite Marvel characters, get to know them, build a team, and stop the forces of evil in a turn-based superhero combat game. Honestly, I can't go into everything that this game covers, or we'd be here all day. If you want to see the full playthrough, it is currently uploading to the YouTube channel, so go subscribe over there so you can see the whole run that we did over the course of 2 months. All right, number 6 this year was a game I was very much looking forward to since they showed it off back in 2023. Lightyear Frontier is a cozy co-op game about you and your friends being launched into space in order to scout out habitable planets for future Earth colonization. You and your tractor mech will build a base, do plenty of farming, raising animals, exploring, and uncovering the secrets of the mysterious previous inhabitants of the planet that you were on. I played in the entirety of this game in a single sitting with a couple of friends of mine. Shout out to Vudix and Cool Kid Joe. And to be honest, this kind of game where you and your buddies have a little community and everyone does their chores to help build things up and work towards a common goal, absolutely perfect. Absolutely perfect. Loved it. These are the kind of video games that I would be if I were one. The only reason this game is so low on the list is because while it is incredibly fun, it was pretty light on content at the end of the day. But they are working on fixing that problem as we speak. I actually had to go back and recomplete the game again later in the year when a big expansion was released. If you have Game Pass, you have Lightyear Frontier. You should absolutely start downloading it after the show ends tonight. All right. Another genre that is a kind of game that I can dive into and y'all won't see me for a couple months is City Builders, which is what our 5th entry on the list is this year. Everyone say hello to Against the Storm. Against the Storm was revealed late last year and was announced to be coming to Game Pass. It is a city builder with a very interesting twist on it. It's also a roguelike. That's correct. No 2 missions are exactly the same. There's changing factors and parameters on every single mission. You're going to need to be at your best even on the lowest difficulty as you try to stand against the magical calamity that is plaguing the land. This game is such a unique experience. The gameplay was and is still a bit hard for me to master, but every time that I come back to it, I learn about it more and more. The music and the visuals are moody and brooding, but also zen and relaxing at the same time. Just listening to the ambient music while trying to city plan is a fantastic vibe. Overall, this game is going to keep me coming back for a while as I chip away at it, and to top that off, they are still continuing to add content to it, so I'm very much looking forward to the team behind Against the Storm continuing to build up such a great game. All right, so for our next one, when I was much younger, I was stuck in a Best Buy while my parents looked at buying a new appliance or, something else boring that we needed for the house. So, naturally, I found myself in the video game section looking at what they had while I waited, and one particular game caught my eye. A game called Age of Mythology. At first glance, it didn't seem all that impressive, some top-down management with a mythology skin on it. I figured it might be neat to burn in an afternoon, so I grabbed it and I spent most of the summer playing that game. For those who aren't familiar, Age of Mythology is a spin-off of the popular game series Age of Empires, not that I knew that at the time, where you play through a campaign of myths, magic, and monsters. Controlling a Greek commander, you must complete each level by building a base, training troops, harvesting resources, and defeating enemies. From hoplites to titans, this game has it all. Now, I may have been a big fan about ancient mythology at the time, can you tell? To this day, I still have the PC discs for Age of Mythology, and when Microsoft picked up the devs for Age of Empires, I thought to myself, one day they will bring Age of Mythology back. And wouldn't you know it, they announced the game earlier this year with a release date some odd 6 months away. You can ask Kingdom, I was jumping out of my chair and punching the air, I was so excited. Age of Mythology Retold is the HD remaster of the original game that I picked up that day in Best Buy, with all the DLC from the original release included, and to top that off, they've also announced that they were intending to add additional content to the game on top of all of that. I played Age of Mythology from start to finish, the retold version from start to finish, in the span of about 3 days once it released. It was all I could think about. And it's still largely all I think about. Please go check it out, like right now. And now, for the entry on the list that makes everyone sad. By now, everyone should be familiar with the Telltale games and their episodic content that tells grand stories across multiple entries, with The Walking Dead being among the biggest of their franchises. Now, I've only played bits and pieces of the first entry into the series and nothing after that, which normally means it would be absolutely wild to just jump straight to the final entry in the series. Which I did. In my defense, it was leaving Game Pass and I wanted to make sure it was done before I had no longer had access to it. And to be honest, the game actually works really well as a standalone experience. They reference a handful of things from previous games, which I have passing knowledge of, but they don't use the other games as a crutch to tell a good story. The game focuses on Clementine and her child, apprentice, AJ. It's the apocalypse, so things are a bit sideways to begin with, but her and AJ have been doing the usual Walking Dead thing of moving from one area to another, trying to have a normal, peaceful life, and always running into trouble. Clementine and AJ have landed in a former boarding school for troubled children, where all the kids were abandoned by adults when things went to hell. We meet a bunch of new characters with their own stories and struggles as we try our best to fit in and help out around our new home. But unfortunately, if you've played or watched anything with The Walking Dead, you know that things don't usually stay that way. What follows is a story of betrayal, heartbreak, and secrets that threaten the lives and home of all our new friends. I laughed, I cried, I yelled at the TV for the stupid decisions that every Walking Dead character always seems to make. A fantastic experience and a great, phenomenal close to the series. Now, number 2 is a bit of a surprise this year, and as a matter of fact, it's also a first. For the entire time that I have been doing these years in review, this is the first time ever that a card or board game has ever been on the list, and it's no surprise to those who know. Number 2 this year is Magic the Gathering. As crazy as it is to see a card game on this list, I felt it was only fair since it has now consumed my life once again. Established all the way back in 1993, I first got into Magic around high school or the early college years. Unfortunately, I had a few friends that played the game, but they were largely leaving the hobby or putting it on hiatus for the time being. And on top of that, the increased cost of the hobby, I figured it was time to put it away as well. Magic had been something I knew vaguely how to play, but not something I actively played for like a decade or more. And that all changed this year when they announced a collaboration with Bethesda for a Fallout-themed set. And I had to have it. We've discovered a really cool local game shop as well, which just means I continue to dump money into that with every new set release. I make sure to go every pre-release weekend. I have a ton of unsorted cards on the table right next to me. I have a handful of custom decks I've made, and it's safe to say that the Magic bug has bitten me once again. And what's even better is that Kingdom has now gotten into the game as well, so at least we have someone to play with at all times. So now, normally, this is where I would say, before we do number 1, we're going to get to the worst game that I played this year, and this is the 7th, 8th year that I've been doing this. This is also the first year that I don't have a worst game. I played plenty of bad games this year, but the worst game of the year if you go back and look at previous broadcasts, has always been something that steps outside the box and goes above and beyond at being truly awful. Barely playable, barely functioning, held together with duct tape. And while I played a lot of bad games this year, nothing was ever truly that bad. So, as a result, we don't have a worst game this year. I guess, good job, games industry. Sure. Anyway, now, finally, the number one game that I played all year, the moment that you all have been waiting for, number one on this list is Persona. Specifically, Persona 3 Reload. Persona stands as one of those series that I've always known existed, but it's always been on other platforms, and I've never been able to have a chance at playing it. Well, that all changed when recently Persona 3, 4, and 5 all came to Xbox. This year's winner is specifically the remake of 3, Persona 3 Reload. Persona 3 follows a group of teens who are gifted to live in the 25th hour of the day that most people are unable to perceive. During this time, they take it upon themselves to use their unique abilities to summon their own personal protector spirits, or personas, to fight the monsters that are running rampant during the 25th hour to protect their city. The whole time, gradually discovering more about the Dark Hour, why it exists, who's behind it, why it exists, and why they were specifically chosen to fulfill the role, eventually saving the whole world in the process. This game is phenomenal, no notes whatsoever. The story is incredibly engaging, there's no quirky gimmicks, it's all fantastic storytelling from start to finish. Seamless transitions from semi-open world gameplay as you explore the city to meet the various characters, to dungeon-delving turn-based combat that's reminiscent of classic Final Fantasy-style gameplay with a shonen anime spin. The visuals are absolutely gorgeous, with Atlus really showing that they want fans of this game to know that they care. And the soundtrack, my god, the soundtrack, folks! I couldn't stop listening to the music from this game, so much so that the entire album was my number one most listened to music collection of 2024 on Spotify. It's funky, it's jazzy, it's cool, it is to die for. I'm not trying to play this up too much, though. This is absolutely a game you all need to play for yourselves if you can, or if you'd rather watch someone play through the game, then you can find the complete collection of videos on the YouTube channel, as we streamed the whole game right here on Twitch. If I could give this game a 6 out of 5, I absolutely would. I can't wait to go back to this game for that new Aegis chapter, the expansion DLC, the additional content that they've added, and I'm looking forward to exploring Persona 4 next year in 2025, so stay tuned for that. And there we have it, folks! That is our top 10. That's the top 10 games that I played this year, and hopefully it was all that you guys wished for and more. However, we're not done just yet. Before we go, as we've started doing these last couple years, I've got some channel stats for all of you for us to go over real quick, and then a special announcement afterwards. We're going to take a look at some of the stats from the channel first off. Just stuff that Twitch and Sound Alerts have given me for rounding out the year. You guys can see some of the cool stuff that we accomplished. I'm not going to read everything verbatim. You can read. You've got that. Well, unless you can't read, but you know what? 355 hours streamed. We streamed 143 times on 139 days. That's kind of weird. Streamed more than once per day. And then you guys, you watched me for over 1,500 hours. The top games, predictably, were Persona 3 in number 1, with Marvel's Midnight Suns at number 2, Resident Evil 5 at number 3, This Is the Police at number 4, and then presumably Just Chatting. I can't even remember what that one was for. That would have been the biggest one. You guys were incredibly talkative this year. You sent almost 17,000 chats, of which I am greatly appreciative of. You guys really liked to use Looty Shake, the tomato emote, Embry No, the Looty Rave, and then the Young Pog emotes. All top emotes. And then the top audience members for the year, this is a random order according to Twitch. They just kind of threw all the names out. This is Embry, Hyper Ninja, Polysemic, Kingdom is Lost, Kill the Choir, Pain Jr., and Shakaso. You guys are the top viewers according to Twitch. Thank you very much for your continued support. And then I believe this next one is just the... Yep, here's the sound alerts graphic that they sent me. Most played alert was the bonk alert, predictably. Almost 30 minutes worth of like 7-second clips were played. Thank you guys very much. And then Embry is the most loyal viewer according to sound alerts with 174 alerts, which means nearly every single one of those bonks was Embry. All right. So that's just the channel stats. Last but not least, and then I'll go back, we'll read chat, we can have a little bit of a talk. I can address the anger in the chat from people who missed the part where I said these are the games that I played that I enjoyed the most, not games that I thought were the best according to everyone in chat. All right, so you guys are familiar with the Gamerscore contest and how we have it once a month, or rather 1 month out of the entire year. Well, Shakaso and I had a chat, and we both said, hey, we're getting really burned out doing nothing but playing baby games and garbage games nonstop for a month. I don't think we want to do this anymore. And so we decided, hey, let's have a crazy idea and let's just do the whole year of 2025 as the competition. So here's the rules, everyone. The contest starts January 1st. Contest takes place over the entire year. The totals will be counted at the end of each month and tallied for the end of year. Don't worry about that. I will do my best to take care of that. And then, let me see here. I had meant to edit that. That is actually incorrect. The top 3, excluding the team captains, the top 3 people on each team will receive a game of their choice within reason. Everyone else on the winning team will receive a 1-month sub to the channel. As usual, we have Team Greebs and Team Gibbons back. Myself captaining Team Greebs, Shakaso captaining Team Gibbons, and we've already picked teams, and that's what we're going to get into here. I am going to read off, and FYI, because I know there's going to be people that are on the edge of their seat for this and be like, What order were they picked in? What order was I picked first? Who was picked first? You got to tell me who was picked first. These are in pick order. These are in pick order. So if your name pops up, if you were the third name that pops up on a given team, congrats, you were the third pick, etc., etc. So, the first round pick. Kingdom is on Team Greebs. Embry is on Team Gibbons. The second round pick. Noth the God is on Team Greebs, and Voodix is on Team Gibbons. Lonsta Demonsta is on Team Greebs, and Exotic Fantasy is on Team Gibbons. Kill the Choir is on Team Greebs. Hyper Ninja is on Team Gibbons. Billy is on Team Greebs, and Star Wyvern is on Team Gibbons. Demonair is on Team Greebs, and Please Gib is on Team Gibbons. Jally is on Team Greebs. Polysemic is on Team Gibbons. Von Lucier is on Team Greebs. And Brad the Titan is on Team Gibbons. Cap Cadet is on Team Greebs. Moto in Motion is on Team Gibbons. Payne Jr. is on Team Greebs. And Ray is on Team Gibbons. And finally, Scout Surge is on Team Greebs, and Zombie Hunter is on Team Gibbons. There we go, everyone. There's the teams. Now, there is one thing that I want to mention, is this may not be a comprehensive list of everyone who is on the respective teams. We could have a situation where someone finds out in April, hey, I want to participate. They will be allowed to, and it will be retroactive. However, one person cannot just jump into the competition. They need to jump in pairs, which means if we have someone who says they want to participate, they have to wait until we find someone else. And then Shakaso and I will flip a coin for them. Okay. Thank you all for being here. Thank you all for a wonderful 2024, for all your continuing love and support. Here is to a good 2025 and beyond. I'm now going to read chat, and I'm going to find out what people were saying while I was reading. And then if people were being mean, they're in trouble. That is where we're going to essentially cut for YouTube, or not. This is all completely unscripted at this point. This is just me chatting with you guys. Let me see here. Let's see. Noth, when we boosted the multiplayer on Rogue Warrior, we would all be unlocking random single player achievements? That's odd. Okay, I see a lot of Noth hating on me because he doesn't like the same games that I like, which is just like, yeah, that's the whole point of the list, Noth. They're the games that I like, that I played. If you want to make a top 10, then make a top 10. You have a Twitch channel. I don't know what you want from me. Oh, and you know what? That's right, Noth. Thank you for reminding me. Noth was actually with Vudix, Joe, and I when we played Lightyear Frontier for the title update, the update. Still can't believe Telltale never did a Firefly verse. Yeah. It's kind of a shame that, they weren't able to get more support, and I mean the business model was a tad bit not sustainable. Ty's so mad we're on different teams. Zombie Hunter got drafted later than the punter from the Panthers. Oh my goodness. Let's see here. Can you rank games in terms of Noth's favorites? Sure, absolutely. Resident Evil, Resident Evil, Resident Evil, Resident Evil, Resident Evil, Resident Evil, Balatro, Resident Evil, and Resident Evil. Oh, yes, thank you. Well, I apologize, Lonsta and Exotic. I don't think Twitch gave me any kind of metrics of like the top bits gift giver for 2024. That has to be a mistake. Let me see here. Let me see if I can get an actual piece of information here. View the recap. As a streamer, top categories, top stream, top tags, chats, emotes, fans, celebration or collaborations, clips, scores. Yeah, no, the closest that I can get, Lonsta de Monsta, is there were 24 new subscribers and 10 hype trains. I will say, nearly every single one of those hype trains was I don't want to say nearly every single one. A very good amount of those hype trains were because of Exotic. And obviously Exotic is phenomenal for all the support that he's given to this channel. It's greatly appreciated. Very greatly appreciated. And I'm sure the people who got the subs that he's gifting were also appreciative. Hello, Mildew. It's not... You know what? Thanks for the happy birthday. It's not anywhere close to my birthday, but thanks for the happy birthday. Also, I saw all the hydrates in chat, so here you go. That's all you're going to get. And Emery, congrats for watching every single stream this year. That is a major accomplishment. Thank you so much for being here. Your support is greatly appreciated. All right. Kingdom, thank you for contributing to the community game pick. We are 75% of the way done. Didn't know Joe Exotic was a fan of the channel or that he was out of prison. Joe and Exotic are two different people, Big Chill. Except for Joe Exotic. He's a third. All right. All right, guys. I think that is where we are going to end it for the stream, for the evening. Thank you again so much for all of the support. Did you read the Oh, wait, hang on. Worst game should be Black Ops 6 for the fact that they use AI art and won't protect voice actors. I mean, I didn't play Black Ops 6, and I think that speaks to itself. It's like, what, one of the biggest releases of the year? And I didn't play it? So, let me see here. I'll tell you what, if I play Black Ops 6 in the new year, it might end up on the list. It says you're level 7 on it. That's because I've played multiplayer twice with my brother. That's about it. I was mostly referring to the campaign. They have unlockable loading screens that use AI art. No thanks.